A warm welcome to those of you watching in Europe on ABN television and to everyone else out there. This is Joy News Prime and my name is Israel Lai. In this edition, police administration say they are almost through with investigations into police recruitment scam and announced measures advised by its council to avert any future incidents. Former Attorney General Martin AMIDU insists any attempt at prosecuting businessman Alfred WOYOME over the judgment debt scandal, which does not rope in its accomplices, is unlikely to succeed. Traders and squatters affected by 4-day demolition exercise at ABOSSEY-OKAI demand relocation. Local government ministry contemplates sanctioning municipal, metropolitan and district chief executives who fail to fully implement sanitation laws in their areas. And father of 5 arrested for posing as bank official to defraud several bank customers in Kumasi of various sums comes face to face with 9 of his victims. Also in the bulletin is business, sports and international news. Do stay tuned. A 45-year-old man was last week arrested by police in Kumasi for robbing bank customers of their monies. Posing as a bank official was today picked out by 9 of his victims in an identification parade. The father of 5, Kuku Bedu, is said to offer to make deposits on behalf of bank customers to spare them the ordeal of staying in long queues only to abscond with their monies. The police in Kumasi put the amount he's grossed so far at over 65,000 Ghana cedis.
Police say Kweku shuttles between Takoradi and Kumasi every day to undertake his criminal acts until he was arrested in Kumasi at the Suame branch of Unibank Ghana Limited, having outwitted another victim. One of his 9 victims, who identified him today during the identification parade, explained how he was outwitted.
I was there filling the deposit slip, and then somebody tapped me. When I raised up my head, it was a gentleman who approached me. And I said, no, I've not heard it. And I said, where do you know me? Is it K-Poly? And he said, yeah, I completed K-Poly with you. So I thought one of my mates. Then he asked me, you've come to deposit? And I said, yes. He said, okay, I'm coming. But he left me, went to the customer care. A lady was at the customer care. He was there chatting with the lady. For some time, he left the lady. He entered in the staff common room. And then he came back again, asked me whether I finished. And I said, yes. And then he said, okay. When I finished the form, filling the form, he just picked the money. By then I've counted the money and I left it on the counter. It was 6,500. He picked the money on the counter and then collected my deposit slip and took it inside the staff common room. Within some seconds he came back again and then he asked me that he has given it to the cashier. So I quickly moved to that place waiting for the cashier. By then he was also standing at my back on the exit. So I was waiting for the cashier thinking that somebody would call me. Within a twinkle of an eye, when I removed my eyes from him, he left the exit. So I rushed to trace him outside to see whether if he's standing outside. There was nowhere to be found.
Central Divisional Crime Officer DSP Abba Afari cautioned the public to be extra vigilant.
Fortunately, he was arrested, he was identified when he went to another bank to perpetrate similar crime. Information available to the police indicate that suspect Kweku Bedu, 49 years, gets to the bank dressed like an official of the bank, always in a flying tie with neatly dressed top, and then after succeeding in collecting people's money, he will immediately transport himself back to Takoradi, where he lives with his family. We are taking this opportunity to educate the general public to be wary of this development. When you get to the bank, you should make sure you transact business with the bank officials. They have their tags affixed to their uniforms. Also, you have the right to see the bank manager to assist you transact your business. So the public is advised to be wise in this regard.
Also, residents of NUNGUA Robbéry here in Accra complaining bitterly about the high rate of robberies in the community. According to the inhabitants, there have been series of robbery attacks in the neighborhood over the past few months, with the latest incident occurring last night. Some of the victims have been speaking with Joy News.
A friend of ours just called us on phone that it seems there are robbers in the area. So we said, robbers? Because of what happened to us at first, we were having the mind of say, today we are going to fight against them. So we came out. As we came out, we tried to run to where they were robbing. So when I got to that place, and my brothers, they were following me, some passed through this way, I was passing through here. All of a sudden, they shot at me. Yeah, they shot at me. These are the injuries. These are the injuries. This place you're seeing here is very deep, but the bullet has been removed. I pressed it. The thing just came out, including this one too. I equally pressed, and it came out. So, and this one is still inside me. You can see from here, this is where it pierced in, but the bullet is right inside. You understand? So, and also this, the bullet is still right here. So this morning, with the aides of my brothers, they said, okay, I should go to the police station because police was here yesterday when this thing happened. So when policemen came, they tried to search the whole place. They found one guy as a suspect, but I don't know what they did with him. If they took him along, I don't know, or they leave him along the way.
He used his 2 foot, the boot, rest on me. He was telling me, he not took a pistol and put on my forehead. If I did not bring out all those money, that they are going to kill me right now. I said, please don't hurt me, I don't have anything. So as soon as, it's like they were hearing some noise outside. So they decided to leave me there. So they came outside. Somebody was shouting, what is wrong, what is wrong? Are you stealing from this house, just like that? Then, before them, they pack all my things. They collect some of my jewelries, my ATM card, them laptop, phone, everything. They pack everything out of the house. So look at one of their bags here. This is one of their bags. They forgot the bag too.
The victims say, though they have reported the issue to the police, no action has been taken yet. The NUNGUA police have declined comment, but insist they are making efforts to deal with the situation. They tell Joy News they've already arrested 2 suspects in connection with the robberies in the area. Also, the security agencies are stepping up patrols in the Volta regional capital Ho in an attempt to stem a crime wave in the town and its environs. The joint patrols by the military and police are expected to calm the nerves of residents who have lately expressed their fears about the security situation in the area. Correspondent Mauli Yevu Agbi joins us with details. Good evening to you, Mauli. What can you tell us about the state of security in the area right now?
Israel, for the past 3 to 4 weeks, a number of armed robbery and break-in has been experienced in the Volta regional capital Ho. Homes, shops, and homes, shops have been broken into and burgled. We can talk about at least 3 pharmaceutical shops broken into and burgled in the whole township. In some cases, the number of these residents who were attacked were even injured in the course of the attack. In one particular case, one of the victims was slashed in the chest, and his forefinger nearly severed by these criminals who attacked him in his home. So it's become a major concern for lots of residents in the Volta regional capital.
Mauli, why is this happening all of a sudden?
If you recall, this is not the first. This is a rarely Saudi head in the Volta regional capital. In January, a similar situation prompted the coming of the visit of the IGP, the Inspector General of Police, Mohammed Al Hassan, to visit the regional capital to find out what exactly is the cause of all these attacks in once known as a very quiet city. And the police are telling us that they are suspecting that the perpetrators of some of these crimes are coming from elsewhere and have people who are collaborating with them from Ho.
All right. Mauli, are the joint patrols by the military and the police, are they having any effects at all? Are they making any impact?
Yeah, this has been arrived at today, that the military has offered to help the police in their patrols. So we're going to have a joint military police patrol starting from this evening.
Okay.
And we need to see how that would have an impact on the security situation in the Volta Regional Capital.
All right, thank you very much. That was correspondent Mauli Yevu Agbi joining us from the Volta Regional Capital. Who, in other news, former Attorney General Martin Amidu is reiterating his call for the government represented by the Attorney General to prosecute all involved in the Alfred WOYOME judgment debt scandal instead of singling out the man alleged to be a known financier of the ruling party. He told Accra City FM, though he lost his job because he wanted to get all those involved to be equally tried, he will not relent in his efforts to get all accused persons tried, insisting that is the only way to get real justice.
The court adjourned for her to serve Waterville. That is 10th. They never served Waterville until WOYOME's case broke out. And just yesterday, they then filed a supplementary affidavit. And when I say yesterday, not just yesterday, but when the case broke out, they then filed a supplementary affidavit and then went to issue a notice for hearing on 31st. It is all to convince the public that they are working. If the WOYOME had not been jailed, they would not have filed a supplementary affidavit or filed this notice of hearing on 31st. Because since 4th, they didn't do anything. That is why I am doubtful about all this thing about collecting monies and all that. And I'm saying that the position of the woman before she became Attorney General is beclouding all these things. And we shall see how it will go.
Now, Mr. Amidu, who was reacting to the ongoing diatribe about how he also says attempts by the Attorney General to retrieve the judgment that paid Alfred WOYOME have so far been cosmetic.
Success was in lieu of prosecuting WOYOME and all his accomplices, which I had been removed from office so that I will be incapable of doing. I will pursue and prove that my advice to the government was based on solid grounds and to get the money for government. As Captain had ordered me on the 13th of January 2012, when we met 2 months, tete-a-tete, to go and do. And that is what I have succeeded in doing. You know, and there are letters I have written to tell them too, after I left office, that prosecuting WOYOME alone would not help. And I've also told them that, look, you're not using the state attorneys who acted on the case, but using the chief director who has no personal knowledge won't help your case. You know, so I still insist that it is wrong for you to choose only one person among several accomplices, because those others are either your ministers or your favorites, and prosecute him alone. It is not a vendetta. I don't have a vendetta against WOYOME. In the press, it is Mr. Bovololate and WOYOME who, prior to this incident, had grudges against each other.
Attorney General Marietta Bruya-Piopong is calling for concerted efforts to fight organized crime in West Africa. She was speaking at a ministerial level meeting of the West African Network of Central Authorities and Prosecutors Against Organized Crime.
Ça c'est la version anglaise. La version française, il faut autographer toutes les pages.
Thank you very much for your time.
You're welcome.
Tell us, this is not the first time we're seeing such, declarations. How sure are we that this time around, whatever you've declared here is going to be implemented?
Okay, because this one, the network is already in place. It's a network of prosecutors and central authorities or investigators. And there are 2 focal persons from each country, each of the ECOWAS member countries. And the network has been meeting. This is our 4th meeting.
We do apologize for that mix. Obviously, there's a mix-up there. We're taking a break. We'll be back with more stories. Don't go away. Some squatters and traders at ABOSSEY-OKAI here in Accra are questioning what they describe as government's failure to relocate them before embarking on its 4-day demolition of structures in the area. They are threatening to vote the government out of power if nothing is done to relocate them. The Accra Metropolitan Assembly started the 4-day demolition exercise to raise on all wooden structures in containers behind the ICGC Christ Temple branch to make way for a developmental project. The demolition is being supervised by a team of armed police officers. My colleague, Michaela Anderson, has been to the area and now reports.
Most of the distressed traders have been fuming over the destruction of their makeshift properties. This woman is just one of hundreds whose shops have been mangled by the heavy-duty equipment of the AMA in a demolition operation. She claims she passed out after hearing her shop had been destroyed. Dozens of structures have already been pulled down. More are expected to be raised down tomorrow. Victims say they are helpless.
We are going to feed our child and our women. If some of our brothers are sick, we are going to save them a problem on this work. So now they sack us away. We don't know where we are going to stay right now. That's be our matter.
Where are we to go? This is our country. Now you don't want us to work. Do you want us to fornicate? No. Do you want us to steal? No. Now what are we going to do? This is the work we do, and then this is the work we are doing, and then feeding our family, feeding a whole lot of people, feeding our people. So what are we going to do?
Well, sometimes, if something happening, sometimes one part we are blaming the government, because if you want to do something for somebody, you have to give person for information.
Some squatters whose containers were destroyed say they spent the night in the open. They are questioning the rationale behind the destruction of their properties without any prior notice. They want government to relocate them or risk losing their votes in next year's elections.
We are not saying that this place belongs to us, it belongs to the government. But now that he's telling us to move away from this place, we expect the government to locate us, that people go to this place, go to that place. They will know that we are also citizens of Ghana. No more vote. No more vote.
From ABOSSEY-OKAI in Accra, this has been Michaela Anderson for Joy News.
Now, investigations into the recent police recruitment scam are almost complete. That's according to the Public Relations Director of the Police Service, Arthur. The Police Council, under the chairmanship of the Vice President, has endorsed the report of the special committee set up to investigate the scam, the recruitment scam. In an interview with Joy News, Superintendent Cephas Arthur said the case has been referred to the Attorney General's Department.
Already investigation is gone very far and almost getting to the end. But as I did indicate, we are still finishing up the investigations, and to the extent that we have even forwarded the report as requested by the Police Council to them. Now we are working on the docket to be forwarded to the Attorney General's office. A few things will be added to it while we finalize the technicalities. So we are almost through with investigations, and we are also finalizing the processing or the preparation of the docket for Attorney General to also undertake its duty.
So how soon should we see an end to this whole thing?
I wonder, I wish I can determine the how soon. How soon the police can do their bit, I can assure you that very soon, because we are almost at the end of what we are supposed to do. The other will be left for the other institutions that are charged with that responsibility. As we indicated, the Attorney General will have to come in to advise us legally on what step to take as per the kind of dockets that we are going to put before them. And once they advise us whether we are going to take the action or they are going to take the action, if there's going to be any criminal trial, then it will be for the court also to do their bit.
Are we expecting more people to be interdicted, regarding this issue?
This is quite a crucial question that you've asked. So far, we have, as you have indicated, investigated 14 persons in connection with this case, 11 of them being civilians and 3 being police officers. The investigation has not completely concluded. In the course of the investigation, if any other person should come up, any other name comes up, we shall extend the investigation to them. But as we sit now, I can't see far into the distance.
The recommendation here suggests that the police put in measures to sensitize and educate the public on police recruitment processes so as to avoid the recurrence of this kind of incidents. What kind of measures are you going to be implementing?
As per the directive of the police administration also, we are going to go all out using all requisite media, both electronic and print. We are going to even use outdoor. We may even use printing of literature and other written material to ensure that we are able to get down to the last person at the grassroots as far as the recruitment processes are concerned. You know, knowledge is power, and when you are adequately informed about the processes, you are adequately informed about something, how something is done, then you become powerful enough to be able to resist all temptations like this recruitment scam that we witness.
Executive Director of Policy Think Tank Imani Ghana, Franklin Kujo, has sued pro-NDC newspaper Daily Post for 1 million Ghana cedis. Mr. Kujo says the paper published a libelous story about him. In the document filed at the High Court, he says the article published in the January 2015 edition was both a fabrication and an attempt to ruin his reputation. Anya Sabote has been reading through the writs and joins me in the studio with more. Good evening to you, Annie.
Good evening.
What exactly did the Daily Post publish about Franklin Kujo?
Okay, so essentially, it has to do with his academic records, and I must also add that not only the Daily Post, but also Delakofi. Delakofi is also described as a researcher and managing editor of DND Communications, and also a well-known strong voice within the NDC.
Is that would it be also a Daily Post?
No, it's more published most of these materials on the on using his Facebook page, which by extension the Daily Post also picked up. And according to, if you look at the statement of claim, Franklin Kujo is saying that the report did a lot of harm to him because if you go through his credentials, he believes that he's achieved a lot. He's been published. He's an authority in several areas. Most of the things he talked about, for example, you talk about the fact that he's been published in the his views have been published in the Washington Times, you know, the San Francisco Chronicle, and other things. And the publication essentially is to create public disaffection for him. And for example, if you look at the document, the particulars of defamation include: 1, Franklin Kujo goes on lying spree. B, Franklin Kujo, the beleaguered head of the pro-MPP think tank, Imani, has embarked on a lying spree to save his torturing image. C, however, Daily Post background checks on some of his claims have revealed that he's lying. D, the Daily Post investigations revealed that Franklin Kujo is not an alumnus of Harvard because he never attended Harvard. And in this, Franklin Kujo talked about the fact that he's an alumnus of the Harvard Kennedy School, but however, the paper in their publication claimed that he was lying. Again, he said Franklin Kujo claims he won 2 John Templeton Foundation Awards. A professor of mathematical sciences at the Cambridge University won the John Templeton Award. Franklin Kujo could not have won the same award. So essentially what Franklin Kujo is saying through his lawyers is the fact that, I mean, all these things have been rubbished by the paper, and that is that of Delakofi, both on their Facebook pages and that of the publications in the Daily Post as well.
So essentially he's going to court to ask them, to proving that indeed whatever they're saying about him is not true, and he's backed that with proof.
Exactly. So he's going to court to have his name cleared, because according to him, it's not only it's defamatory and it's also malicious. And for him, he believes that every single thing that is listed as part of his CV, you know, everything is true. And therefore, he's seeking that a court should, for example, compel Delakofi and the Daily Post to apologize and retract, and consistently, within the period of 10 days, give the same prominence that they gave to the libelous article he described here, that they should publish one on the Facebook pages as well as the newspaper. And as well as beyond that, he's also asking them to pay an amount of 1 million Ghana cedis, for example. Damages for Delakofi, this is what Franklin is seeking. He said damages of 10 million Ghana cedis for libel contained
10 million Ghana
10 million, exactly. That's an awful lot of money. In the stories titled Franklin Kujo Goes on Lying Spree, meet Franklin Kujo the liar, and identify fraud, group chases Franklin Kojo as more questions about his CV pop up.
Has there been any reaction from the two persons involved, the Daily Post and Delakofi?
Before coming to the studio, I tried reaching Delakofi on his phone. Unfortunately, I couldn't get access to him, but we're still working the phone line to see if we can still get him for his this. But I spoke to Franklin Kojo actually, who confirmed that indeed these are the damages he's seeking in order to repair a damaged reputation.
All right. Now we're staying with Franklin Kojo because he has endorsed the appointment of Deputy Chief of Staff Dr. Valerie Sawyer, Senior Policy Advisor and Head of the Presidential Delivery Unit. Although analysts say the role could be a duplication of the monitoring and evaluation functions of the various ministries, departments and agencies, Mr. Kojo believes the appointment is a necessary tool to address the challenges government faces in tracking key projects. He spoke in an exclusive interview with Joy News.
As in making sure that the various actors within the governance system are engaged to understand that, look, in spite of gift mix, in spite of all these nice payroll reforms that Mr. Sepek is putting in place, we would have the last laugh because we may not be too sure of some of these challenges. I like to see Sawyer suggesting again that we shouldn't have lost $700 million because there was a slump in prices of oil, simply because the Minister of Finance did not do the needful in ensuring that the National Mitigation Risk Committee, which was established under his predecessor, was seen to be working. She should be bold enough to ask critical questions. Why did you not do this? Why did you not continue the payroll reforms so that we are bleeding 1 billion cedis every year? I believe that she wants to achieve some legacy for herself. I don't know her personally. I can only infer from what her close friends have said, and I want to believe that given her experience in government, she could be of immense help. Those that have to do value for money audits, she could reach out to other experts and then get things done.
The local government ministry is considering sanctioning municipal, metropolitan and district chief executives who fail to fully implement sanitation laws. The move is to ensure the various assemblies are rid of the filth which has become a common feature in many parts of the country. Acting Director of Environmental Sanitation at the ministry, Demedeme Na Lenasim, revealed this in an interview with Joy News.
The sanitation situation, especially in Accra, does not seem to be improving in spite of numerous interventions. The National Sanitation Day, one of the key interventions government introduced with a view of clearing the filth, is not yielding much results, as the debris gathered mostly from gutters ends up back in the drains. One major concern raised by the public is the non-collection of heaps of garbage days after the exercise, a development Na Demedeme says his outfit is aware of. A non-governmental group, he says, has been identified to help deal with the problem.
They have taken upon themselves to address that situation, and we try and build their capacity, in terms of giving them the needed logistics, and they would address it in every region that we go to. So you will be in Eastern region. I bet you things will change.
What group is this? Is that an establishment or
it's an NGO that has come out to say that they would address that challenge, because it's an issue that, if we are not careful, could demotivate people from participating in this thing.
The head of the local government ministry's environmental sanitation unit says, as a measure to improve sanitation, his outfit is considering sanctioning MMDCEs who fail to implement the laws on sanitation.
I think His Excellency the President has even indicated that even apart from the assemblies, he has directed that assemblies will be judged by the level to which they enforce the sanitation bylaws or laws, and equally, if they are going to be sanctioned according to it, it means that they will have to do what they are required to do. So I think that it's an issue, because if we think that a DCE or an MCE is not doing what is expected to do, definitely he has to be sanctioned.
He suggested MMDAs identify trouble spots in their areas and focus on clearing the filth in those areas, especially during the designated sanitation days. Nia Krofis Matabe, Joy News, Accra.
Former Chief Executive of Kumasi Asante Kotoko FC, Herbert Mensah, has called on Ghanaians to put politics aside and vent their frustrations over the energy crisis. Mr. Mensah made the call in a video uploaded to YouTube and his Facebook page. Viewers are, however, advised the video was shot with very little lighting, pretty much like Joy News' Doomsday News Bulletin.
You know, one of the most frustrating things when we end up in situations like we're in right now, where clearly everything is falling to pieces. We sit down in a situation where there is no light. Your productivity is shrunk to zero. Your overheads are a nightmare. You have to take your eye off the ball and think about basic existence. Is that at a time that clearly that we're in this major crisis, not to mention the fact that the exchange rate has now decided to go on a yo-yo to hell again, is that I just really wish for one moment that people would stop politicking and deal with the issues at hand. This situation is clearly unacceptable. We are where we are because of a period of total mismanagement and total disrespect for the people of Ghana. It hasn't come about today. It has been in the coming for quite a while, and successive custodians of power have simply mismanaged it because they have failed to understand what their role is as public servants serving all of us. And because we believe in this thing that is called democracy, I'm not sure whether I do at times, most of the time these days, it just seems as though people are a little bit, what do we do? Whereas I would like people to exhibit rage. I would like the people who believe that when people talk about the famous or infamous Dumso, to stop now looking at it as an attack on the president.
Well, if you're wondering why that video was so dark, Herbert Mensah later explained on JN Interactive just over an hour ago. He shot the video out of frustration over the energy crisis after his generator gave up on him. Now, its root cause is still unknown, but it is clear that the risk of having a child with Down syndrome increases with age and is significantly increased in pregnancies in women 35 years and over. Though not reversible, with the needed attention and care, persons with Down syndrome can live a normal and healthy life.
Each cell in the human body contains 23 pairs of chromosomes, which contain the genetic material that determines all our inherited characteristics. But persons with Down syndrome do not have same. A developmental pediatrician, Dr. Marilyn Mabel Wilson, shared some thoughts.
For Down syndrome is one of the most common genetic disorders, okay? It's caused by having 3 chromosomes 21. And when the baby is formed, the 3 main things that you find out is that they have certain facial features that are very, very distinctive. The second thing they have is that they have intellectual disability. And the third thing is that they have what we call hypotonia. So their muscles are weak.
Adequate access to health care, early intervention programs are vital to the growth and development of individuals with Down syndrome.
So first of all, you need a diagnosis. So you definitely need to know that, okay, my child has challenges, or if you notice my child is different, maybe he's not walking at the age he's supposed to walk, or you find out that he's so floppy at birth, he's not sucking well. So when they are floppy, as in hypotonic, as in what I described with the weakness of the muscles, early on they sometimes will not be able to even latch onto your breast to suck properly, or they start having lots of coughs and colds early on, or you realize that their neck is not stable at 3 months, they are not sitting, then definitely you need a diagnosis. You need to find a doctor to be able to diagnose you and say that yes, this is it, your child has Down syndrome. Once you know that your child has Down syndrome, then that's the first step, and that's the biggest step. Then you can now learn all you can about Down syndrome.
Persons with Down syndrome are faced with stigmatization, abuse and lack of support, and too often their challenges begin early in life when they are excluded from quality education systems. The need for an increased public awareness and an all-inclusive policies are very necessary to help persons with Down syndrome live a fulfilling life. Matilda Pamaga for Joy News.
Business. Right, so from Ethiopia with love, Abigail Adumakwinchi is back from Ethiopia.
And forgetting my name already.
Yeah, because you've been away for
just a week.
Yeah, but it's been long.
Away from
I missed you though. I missed you though. And I hear you had so much fun in Ethiopia.
Oh, it was work and happiness.
Okay. All right, you take it up.
All right, time now for some business reports with me, Abigail Adumakwinchi. Now, financial analyst Mike Kobler is warning that persons who turn to GCB for credit might be forced to pay more as interest. This follows a decision by ratings agency Moody's to lower the bank's credit worthiness to B3. The move was influenced by Moody's latest downgrade on Ghana, which is the second in less than 1 year. According to Moody's, it is worried that the government might not be able to pay debts owed GCB on time because GCB's exposure to government financial analyst Mike Kobler tells Joy Business that the current development would put pressure on GCB.
The rating action follows the weakening of Ghana's credit profile as captured by Moody's downgrade of the country's government bond ratings to B3 from B2 with a negative outlook on 19th March 2015. Financial analyst Michael Kobler described the rating as worrying.
What happens is when you get a downgrade is that people begin to believe that you are too risky. So they would then begin to squeeze the lines of credit that they have for you. Some may decide to reduce it to the level of risk that they perceive. Your borrowing cost becomes slightly higher. And sometimes the third one is that if you are doing a transaction, people will generally say that you should provide additional insurance or what we call credit enhancers. That's insurance or some kind of hedge against that risk that they perceive.
The Kobler, however, advised that GCB should do a lot more to keep investors who are likely to pull out because of Moody's downgrade.
There's nothing very much they can do in this case but to give investors comfort that they are not in a difficult situation. They've been affected badly because of where they find themselves sitting today, that they have government instruments, which is not a new thing. That the structure of their balance sheet have always been like that. I mean, the composition of the balance sheet. So that's why I'm saying that those who already know GCB, it's no news for them because that has not changed. Now, more importantly, we have to work as a country to get a better rating because it argues well for all the institutions working within the country. And it's also important for us to be trumpeting what the country is doing much better than other people. I have seen indices where indices of trying to do business, ease of doing business in Africa, we are ranked about number 4, number 5, compared to other countries like Mauritius and all that, we and Kenya even. So some of the good things that we are doing as a country, we must persistently be trumpeting it.
According to Moody's, the downgrade of GCB ratings reflects the extensive interconnectedness between its balance sheet and sovereign credit risk, owing to the bank's high exposures to the government of Ghana. Etonamsi, Joy News.
Now, the Ghana National Chamber of Commerce is hinting of more layoffs by businesses due to the depreciation of the cedi. The local currency has gone down by a little over 11% and stands currently at 3 Ghana cedis, 75 pesos to the dollar. Most of the members of the chamber are in import business and are now feeling the pinch because of the current situation. President of the Ghana Chamber of Commerce, Dr. Seth Ejeba, in an exclusive interview with Joy Business, says members of the association now import what they were producing here in Ghana a few weeks ago.
According to the Bank of Ghana, Imports in Ghana decreased to $3,430 million in the third quarter of 2014 from $3,527.61 million in the second quarter of 2014. Imports in Ghana averaged $2,518.63 million from 2003 until 2014, reaching an all-time high of $4,747.16 million in the second quarter of 2012 and a record low of $692.74 million in the first quarter of 2003. The current energy crisis is, however, threatening this figure as industry players predict a double of the import figure by June this year.
We are importing a lot of fruit juices. Why can't we consume our own juices here? We have a lot of fruits around. But we are importing a lot of fruit juices. Just an example, something ordinary we are importing. If you go down there, all the gas cookers they are assembled locally. We do them. Now we don't have power. We get power 6 hours a day in Cocoa. So what do? You keep the staff, you look at the cost of running, paying staff, they are not working at their full capacity, it's an extra cost. If you do the calculations and you realize that you are not breaking even, you bring finished products and you sell to the market. So there are quite a lot of things that Ghana we've started doing and we are doing right. So we should have been encouraged to do them more.
According to President of the Ghana Chamber of Commerce, Dr. Seth Ejeba, about 40% of businesses of members have collapsed in just a few weeks. Ghana imports mostly industrial supplies, capital and consumer goods, and foodstuffs. Its main import partners are China, United States, Belgium, United Kingdom, and France. Dr. Ba is worried the depreciation level of the cedi is making it difficult to trade on the international market. He appealed to government as a matter of urgency to solve the energy situation and stabilize the cedi to save the industry. Etonamse, Joy News.
Now, officials of the largest national airline in Africa, Ethiopian Airlines, say the continent can avoid the collapse of national carriers if they are allowed to operate without political interference. The airline is set to expand its fleet in the next 15 years, within which period it hopes to increase its international destinations from the current 84 to 130. Ethiopian Airlines, which started operating after the Second World War, has become the fastest growing, most profitable and the largest airline in Africa in 2014 based on revenue and profit, according to the International Air Transport Association, IATA. Flying to destinations across 5 continents with 20 domestic destinations, the airline has been a pioneer of African aviation as an aircraft technology leader, providing the first jet service in Africa, the first African Boeing 767 and 777-200LR. Ethiopian is currently the first African airline to operate the Boeing 787 Dreamliner and the second in the world after Japan. As a reigning best regional airline, Ethiopian Airlines' success comes at a time many national airlines are collapsing.
The government runs a hands-off attitude, so all, of course, it's owned by 100% by the government, but it's left to run its business without an interference.
Yes. All the decisions are being made based on business. Yeah. If it makes business, even the government's requests are being treated if like a commercial, if the government wants a charter, they are going to pay for it. Most of the airlines in Africa, they are collapsing because government interferes. I think so. I'm not expert on that, but maybe that's the fact. But yes. Ethiopian Airlines is like a business entity. Nobody, like the government, as he says, and so no.
The airline has acquired simulators for the new Boeing 787 Dreamliner and Kill 400 to offer pilots the best training experience. Ethiopian has pumped over $50 million into the expansion of its aviation academy, which incorporates aviation maintenance, pilots, cabin crew, commercial and leadership training. And that'll be all for business. I'm Abigail Adumakunchi.
Business news.
Let's do some sports now. And former Youth and Sports Minister Elvis Afriyie Ankrah
has told the Commission of Inquiry, who was at the Commission of Inquiry, has suggested his removal from office after last year's World Cup fiasco does not connote anything or any wrongdoing. The former sports minister stole the headlines during the Commission's hearing after weeping while answering questions on poor travelling, arrangement of fans, awarding of shabbily executed contracts, and abandoning the Black Stars during the tournament. Ahead of the Commission's presentation of its report to the presidency, the former minister insists that he was sacrificed.
Oh, it's not hot. It's only when there are tournaments that there are so many interests. But really, it's not really. I didn't see any monsters there, honestly. I didn't see any monsters there. There were fantastic people there and wonderful people. And, we should just keep our cool. When there are tournaments, naturally people are excited. There's so much expectation. And when we go and we don't do well, then we are all looking for somebody's blood. It's normal. And I had to be sacrificed, so it's normal, So I think that we should support the new minister. I think the new minister is very capable. And whatever advice I have, I'll give it to him in chambers. But I have full confidence in him and his capabilities. Advice I'll give him behind closed doors.
Well, we'll see what happens when that report is presented to the president and whether the recommendations will be implemented. The president of the Ghana Beach Soccer Association, Yaw Mpofanka, says the national beach soccer team will succeed at the maiden beach soccer AFCON in Seychelles next month. The Black Sharks beat the Ugandan opponents by 13-2 margin in the second leg of the AFCON qualifier in Accra. The Sharks management committee immediately announced the team will camp at home to prepare for the tournament. Yaw Mpofanka is looking ahead to the tournament already.
This is the biggest crowd we've ever had, so we're delighted. But now we need to mobilize and go to Seychelles, not to participate, but to try and qualify for the World Cup. So we now need to prepare. They will rest for a few days, and then we go straight to camp. Because we don't have funding, we'll camp in Ghana and go to Seychelles with a few days to the tournament. We'll submit our budget in the next 48 hours and also appeal to corporate Ghana to come and support. Go back to Cowbank once again. And others. The media, you've been tremendous. I think every media house is here today, and we'll need the media to carry that message. And I think these boys deserve tons of commendation. They don't play with, winning bonus or financial motivation per diem, no. But where they've reached, I think we should recognize them and recognize their efforts and give them something to at least let them feel that they've been recognized. It doesn't have to be money, but they should be recognized for the sacrifices they've made. They've done extremely well. Seychelles, will go there. We're climbing up, and hopefully by the time we get there, we would have improved. And who knows, we can beat the big boys, Senegal, Nigeria, Ivory Coast, Morocco and the rest, and perhaps we can qualify to the World Cup in Portugal.
Well, now let's do the story before we end sports. And Fenerbahce striker Emmanuel Emenike demanded to be substituted after being booed by his own fans during the 1-0 home win over rivals Besiktas. The Nigerian international reacted angrily to jeers after losing the ball and took his shirt off, storming off the pitch, only to be talked back on by his coaching staff.